Update. I have the Gseat in its testing phase, at least its final form of testing phase, so that way I can see if it needs any more iterations currently. So last time I had these connecting rods cut, but I didn't have them welded yet, didn't have them connected. I didn't have those connecting points mounted yet. So I've got all that done. Not to mention, I also have the harnesses mounted to the drums now. Coco says hi. Say hi, Coco. Okay. So I have those welded and mounted on now. So if we were to move the paddle, can't do it now because it's on. But if the paddle moves up, these will slacken, and as the paddle moves backwards, these will tighten. Also, I got the entire 5-point harness mounted. While mounting the side paddles, instead of welding them onto the drums like I initially thought, I realized since this is a lap belt, and a lap belt goes across both paddles, as the two paddles flex upwards, if you mount the belt to the sides of the paddles as I have there, as it flexes upwards both sides, then it slackens the belt. And then as those two flatten, then it'll tighten the belt, which is exactly what I wanted. And it's I'd been thinking for a long time how I was going to get around these connecting rods here to be able to mount. I wanted them to mount there and then come out through that connecting rod, and then to come up over here was what I originally wanted. But I wasn't sure how I was going to get around these connecting rods. I was essentially going to have to make the belt come up vertically before that connecting rod. But then there's, the mount and all that. Like, it was just going to be a big pain in the butt. Plus, on the paddle, in order to do that, I was going to have to cut like a big groove like that in order for the belt, basically at least the thickness of the belt, but it also has to be a bit inboard. So I was basically going to have to cut like half the paddle in half. And that just didn't sit well with me. There was going to basically, as that thing pushed up, I didn't think it would have the rigidity, and I didn't want to make it any stronger. So perfect solution was just to mount the lap belts to the paddle. The front belt, the one that keeps it all stationary, is just mounted there, the wood screw into the wood. So let's go ahead and get this thing fired up. We've got roller coaster simulator, and this is the forest something or other, forest roller coaster. This one I like testing because it usually has a good amount of articulation. So there you can see, and then you'll see those things just pop up like that. That's because we're now in a climbing position on the hill. So that would basically be pushing into your back or pushing you slightly forward in the seat while doing that. I haven't tried this with VR or with a driving simulator yet, and VR really is what's going to sell the simulation itself. So I haven't tried that yet, but with the new motors, as you can see, there's a way more articulation than there was before. And with the new motors, I mean, that right there would definitely give you a little punch in the back. Like, you definitely feel it now. As much as you felt it on the bottom panels before, you feel that much on the back now. So it is a nice little motion simulator. It's very different than what my brain expects and is used to with my full rig motion simulators that actually tilt and roll and have traction loss. So this one, I built it to try and put it on top of the motion simulator to give me the combination of sustained G-force along with the actual motion of the motion simulator moving itself. But this thing, is still split in half. Like, I have the screws in the side, everything. I believe I showed that on another video. It's all mounted solid, except for I still have the C clamps holding those two together. But this thing is incredibly heavy. I mean, it's at least 120 pounds, like at least. I haven't actually weighed it yet, but just trying to lift the back and trying to lift the bottom two separately, not even together, it definitely feels like it's at least twice as much as that bucket, and that bucket has 40 pounds of sand weights in it. So each one of those feel like they're somewhere around 60 to 80 pounds a piece. So that's a very chunky boy, which means there's no way in heck I'm going to put this on my motion simulator, at least. I don't think the motors, even though most of the weight would be over the U-joint, it might be able to handle it. I'm just not. The idea of trying to hook this thing up to that motion simulator does not appeal to me. So I'm going to leave it as is. Finish it off. I still have the sides that I can put on it there, but I have to modify them because they're too wide. So I'll have to modify them for the cutouts there. But everything is working. Everything's moving along as it should be. So we are looking really good with this. So basically the next steps for the Gseat, if I even have next steps for the Gseat, is to test it. I'm gonna get the steering wheel out here and get the see if I can I'll hook it up to my, instead of the laptop, I'll hook it up to my other computer, my secondary computer. That's the old 8086 that used to be my main computer, but I took the 3080 out of it and put it in my 13700K, and that one has a 2060 in it right now. So it would still be enough to handle, it would still be enough to handle VR, like a CV1. But the problem with that is I let someone borrow my last CV1, so I might go get my CV1 from my brother, so that way I can test it out. Anyway, I'm going to do further testing on this, see how it feels in VR, and then I might paint it and finish off the wood, make it look nice, because I want to sell this, so I might list it up for sale locally, see if anyone's interested in buying it. But anyway, thank you guys for dropping in on the saga of the Gseat. At this point, I'm pretty happy with how everything works. She's pretty much finished. But if I do any further iterations, if I can't sell it and I actually do like it, how it feels in VR with a driving game or a flying game, then I'll keep it and continue to iterate on it. And this might not be the last Gseat video. So anyway, we'll talk to you guys later.